Hello, this is Calvin Russell, CEO and founder of 850 Club Credit. Hope everyone's doing well today. Today, we're going to talk to you guys about the tips that you can take to get approved for that new apartment. Let's go straight into it. So, if you're looking to go into an apartment rental, of course, the first thing that they're going to start looking at is going to be your rental history as well as your credit score, obviously, once you fill out the application for the apartment. Okay. So, what are some things you can do to put in place to go ahead and get approved? Well, number one, you need to make sure that your credit score meets the requirements for that property. Even if you are a few points away, I would say still apply, but you need to make sure you call and speak to either the property management company, the listing agent, the landlord or owner, whomever is the person, the point of contact for that property. See if you can have a conversation with them. If, let's say, for example, they want you to have a 620, but you have like a 617, they're not going to deny you for 3 points. Okay. This isn't a bank. And so I think the problem is that too many people, they view a lot of these properties and apartments as banks. They're not banks. They don't know credit. They don't understand credit in most cases, and they're not trained on credit. These are regular people in positions to just say yes or no on applicants. Okay. So I say that to say sometimes an explanation of your situation always helps. Okay. Especially if you're only a few points away, still apply. Number two, making sure that your score is where it needs to be in general, not just because it's short, but just because obviously, you're going to have better options. Sometimes there's a lot of small things that people can do. For example, they say, for example, I need to have an apartment in the next couple months or so. And if you do need to have an apartment in the next couple months or so, is your credit score, in place to go ahead and get that approval? If it's not in place to go ahead and get that approval, you may be literally inches away. So check to see if you need to pay down some credit cards, check to see if you need to refinance something. That's, like the quickest, smallest things you could do to improve your credit score is going to give you a lot better options. Usually when they are, when apartments want any score or they'll take low scores, that means that you're going to have certain types of neighbors. Not that people are their credit scores, but it's the fact that if the property owners or if the requirements are lower for everybody, they're going to have people that just don't care about certain things, to be totally honest with you. So just make sure that you double check that as well. Number three, making sure that you have your right check stubs as well too. You don't need to make fake check stubs, guys. It's just going to make things a lot more difficult for everybody. I've seen people do it, and if the income's not there, you're just going to be struggling just to actually make the rent. But people, they do what they want to do anyway. But you need to make sure that your income is there. If your income needs to be explained, then of course make that explanation. It's okay to type up another letter and then have that go along with your rental application. When you're looking for a house and they need you to explain something, then they will have you do what they call an LOE. That's called a letter of explanation. The same thing you could do for an apartment rental. If, for example, you're a traveling nurse and your income fluctuates, or you're commission based and your income fluctuates, or if you were out of work for a few months and then now you're back to working again, some things need to be explained, and whatever that explanation is, you can type that up or write a letter or whatever you need to do. That way everyone is in the know. Or of course you can obviously tell them verbally, just let them know the situation. There were times when when things were not the best for myself, and I've told clients these things for years. See what you can you're not really negotiating. You're more so telling them what the story is behind the story. And it's up to them to decide if they want to go ahead and move forward with that or not. But I will say this, it worked 90% of the time. I would say, hey, my sales job, I work a sales job, is commission based. And so my income kind of fluctuates, but this is what I'm averaging. I know you guys are looking for this score. Here's my score. So I meet those qualifications. And sure enough, they say, yeah, and again, they look at the fact that just because you're willing to call them and explain something, that means that you are credible. Okay. So all of that, plays a major role. And then last but not least, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with looking for an apartment. Let me just start there. However, if you're going through this process and you're tired of paying for application fees, you're tired of the process being drawn out, then you may need to consider going into homeownership. Keep in mind, when a property owner or when there's an apartment in general, a house in general, a rental in general is going to have requirements. Okay, if you don't meet those requirements, then you end up spending money trying to meet everyone's requirements because they're essentially trying to accept you, right? They may not like the car you're driving. They may not like your boyfriend. They may not like the girlfriend. They may not like your sexual preference. They may not like the amount of kids you have. They may not like that your hair's not done. Whatever the case may be, I don't know why they didn't go with your application. However, when you're going into home ownership, something you can control, the bank doesn't care about any of that. The most sellers don't care about any of that. Can you buy? And honestly, guys, most of the requirements are almost the same. Keep in mind, to go into homeownership, you only need a 580 credit score, okay? Down payment, that's down payment assistance. You can get gifts, you can get money from the sellers, but it just really depends on what price point you're trying to buy in. But there's livable, nice, decent properties at all price points, depending on what you're willing to compromise on. I literally just put a property available. It's a condo. It's $70,000 in a suburb, here about 30 minutes away from downtown Chicago. And it's $70,000. So it doesn't take much. Now, is it dated? Yeah, hell yeah, it's dated. But at the same time, it's livable. The toilet's flush, the water works. There's a new furnace, new AC. So again, what are you willing to compromise on to have whatever it takes to be your own? Income, all you need is a minimum is $12 an hour. So again, 580 credit score, minimum $12 an hour to buy your own property. And you won't have to worry about any of that. That's always an option. However, if you're going through the rental process, again, if something needs to be explained, make that phone call, make that explanation, look around more, be willing to compromise, understand your situation, and don't be afraid to write that letter if you can't meet them in person or type it up or whatever needs to be done, and kind of go from there. But at the same time, don't forget, you can control this situation, a little bit, if you I'm sorry, not a little bit. You can control this. You can control the outcome or control the situation better if you consider going into homeownership as an option. Okay, so hopefully this information helps. Of course, we already got a video, talking about how to, how rent fluctuates and things of that sort, and what type of value you can bring to bring those that rent to a more of an affordable pace. An affordable rate. So you can always check that video out as well too, guys. Okay, so if you like this video, like it. If you want to share it, share it. And as always, be sure to subscribe, as we got nothing but great content well on the way. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.